Sometimes you must trust where you're going without knowing why or where you are going. Sometimes you must trust where you're going without knowing why or where you go. Once there was a rabbi, very kind person, deep love in his heart, took care of all he worked with. But he was feeling full of doubts. He couldn't understand why it was the way it was, how it seemed like people who were kind, nothing ever good seemed to happen for them. Somebody else, mean as mean can be, well, they just got more and more and more. It just didn't make any sense. And how could he believe in a world like this? Not a good place for a rabbi to be. So he prayed, I need some help. I need some help to understand, so I can go back full of love and life again into this work I care so much about. Send me Elijah. Let me learn from him. And the days went by, and one day he was walking, that rabbi was walking, and who should he meet? Yep, Elijah. And he said, oh, Elijah, can I walk with you? Oh, Elijah, can I walk with you and learn? Bring back all that I need to bring back into my soul. And Elijah said, sure, you can travel with me, learn what you can learn. But, you can't be just asking me questions all the time. I have a lot to do. You can't be asking things and this and that. No, said Rabbi. I won't need to ask you questions. I just want to walk with you and learn from you. And Elijah said, okay, but remember, sometimes you must trust where you're going without knowing why or where you are going. Sometimes you must trust where you're going without knowing why or where you go. Okay. Well, if you start asking me questions, I'm just going to leave. No, I won't ask questions. Just let me travel with you. Okay, let's go. So that's what they did. And one evening, they needed a place to stay and a little food. And they came to this, a little farmhouse. Single cow out there in the yard eating some grass. They walked by that cow and up on the porch, and they knocked on the door. An old couple answered the door and said yes, and Elijah said, sorry to bother you, but we need a little something to eat. Maybe a place to sleep. A little place in the corner is all we need. And the couple smiled and said, come right in. You are welcome. We are honored. We are honored to have you eat at our table. So they had a nice little meal, very simple, but still tasty. Time for bed. Oh, you have our bed. We'll be fine on the floor over. We have a little pallet. We'll just lay it down on the floor. We'll be fine. And Elijah and the rabbi had a nice night's sleep. And in the morning they thanked the lovely couple. Thanks for your kindness. And they walked outside and they walked by that cow, and just then the rabbi listened to Elijah. What's he saying? Seems he's praying. What? May it be the cow. May it be the cow. may it be the cow. And just like that, the cow fell to the ground and died. Rabbi looked at Elijah. What? What's going on? But he didn't say that. He remembered Elijah's song. Sometimes you must trust where you're going without knowing why or where you were going. Sometimes you must trust where you're going without knowing why or where you go. So Rabbi did not say a word. He did not want Elijah just to leave. They kept walking and talking about other things. It was evening time, needed to find another place. And there was a big farmhouse, nice porch, nice house. Rabbi looked and Elijah said, yeah, let's knock on that door. Went and knocked on the door. Nobody answered. Knocked again. They heard a voice from the other side of the door. What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Oh, sorry, Elijah said through the door. We're just looking for, a little bite to eat and a place to sleep for the night. We're traveling. The door opened. Well, I'll tell you what. There's no room in this house. But around back, there's like an old shed. You can sleep in there. There might be, I wonder if there's any. Yeah, there might be some food back there. If you find any, you can have it. Okay, good night. Slammed the door just like that. Elijah and the rabbi went around back, and the shed was not barely big enough for them to even lie down in. And there was no food at all, and they didn't sleep well. Still, the next morning they got up and went to the door to thank the farmer, but nobody answered the door, and they started walking down, and right there near the road was a great big tree. Whoa, it's kind of cracked. It looks like it's about to fall. That's going to be, whoa. And just then, Elijah started praying again. Oh tree, grow strong again. Grow strong again, strong again, strong again. Heal yourself, heal yourself, heal yourself. And the tree did. Straight and tall, rising to the sky. In the rich man's yard. Rabbi looked at Elijah. What are you doing? He didn't say anything. He remembered the song. Sometimes you must trust where you're going without knowing why or where you are going. Sometimes you must trust where you're going without knowing why or where you go. So the rabbi did not say a word. They just walked on. But all that stayed in the mind of the rabbi, rambling around in his brain. And he started to, I can't stand it anymore. And he said, Elijah, I know you're going to leave, but I have to ask you, what in the world are you doing? What in the world? I do not understand. There we were in that first place we stopped. The kindest people I've ever met. And they gave us food. They gave us their bed. And we start to leave and they have one cow. They have one cow. And what do? May it be the cow. May it be. And the cow died. How can you do that? How can you do that? That is not fair. That is not fair at all. How can you do that? And Elijah smiled and said, "Oh, Rabbi, when we were eating dinner, I was looking at that old woman, and I saw in her eyes she was going to soon die. And so in the morning when I saw the cow, I got an idea, and I prayed that it be the cow instead of that woman. So the cow died, and the woman is quite healthy. When you go back, you'll see her. And I'll tell you something else. They're neighbors, another farm family. It so happens that their cow, that very morning, had calves. Not one, twin calves. And when those calves were born, that neighbor said, "You know, our friends next door, they could use a calf, and we don't need two." And so they gave their calf to that family, to that couple who had just lost their cow. "Wow," said Rabbi. "Wow. Sometimes." Well, what about that tree and that farmer that's so mean to us, gave us nothing to eat and terrible place to sleep, and then that tree was going to fall right in the middle of his yard there, and you just make it well again? Yes. Well, what was that about? Well, you may not know this, but I did. Under that tree was a treasure, gold. And had that tree fallen down, that farmer would have seen the gold right away and just used it for himself. But instead, the time's going to go by, and the family that finds that gold is a family that really, really needs it. And in fact, they will build a school right where that farmhouse is now and teach. Wow. I guess sometimes you must trust where you're going without knowing why or where you are going. Sometimes you must trust where you're going without knowing why or where you go. And that's the story.